Hey guys, here's the gear for today. I'm going to keep on using the Nacet blade, and we're looking at today is 487. 487 is today's shave count on the Nacet. And the other gear, we're going to put the Nacet in the vintage Gillette New. It's kind of funny to say vintage and new in the same phrase, but the Gillette New, and it's a vintage razor, and it's the short comb. We'll contrast that a little bit later with the long comb. We've got this, I believe it's a B4 knot from Declaration Grooming, and it's a that darn Rob handle. I really like it a lot. Thé Noir et Vanille is the soap for today by Otter. And so many people look at this and say the noir, but it's got an accent right above the E. And so we're talking a French phrase here. So it's black tea and vanilla. Or maybe you could say vanilla and black tea. You know, perhaps the vanilla and the and the black can all be together in a phrase. My French is not that good. So black tea and vanilla is the scent for today, and Noble Otter has been around for a little while, and I'm not smelling a whole lot of vanilla. It's not super vanilla forward, which I kind of like. It's not going to overwhelm you. I can actually smell maybe a hint of citrus in there that goes well with tea, obviously. And it hasn't been used in a while. You can see the little ring of shrinkage right there. We will change that today. I'm looking at about 24 hours of growth here. This is the common bar handle that you'll see among many of the vintage Gillette razors. The top cap is a little different than some of the others. Not only does it have the four alignment bits here, but they're also different. If you look at it from the side, you can see how they're angled here, and the other ones typically that I've shown you don't come down to a triangle. They if the curve is down this way, then so that same curve is right there on the cap, on the little post right there, tiny post. We do have the ridge going through the middle for support. That ridge has a slot on the head. And so this is the short comb head, and it's very different. And I'm able to show you a couple of things that we can contrast it with. The other day I used this vintage Gillette New. It's a flat bottom new, and this is the round pin variation. Okay, I'm going to take that top cap off, and notice that we'll jump in another razor here. This is a Fatip. The Fatip uses the same format as the old type from the vintage Gillette fame, where you've got these posts coming down, and that helps to align the blade, and it helps to align the base plate and the top cap and all that. Well, since those posts are designed to go through these larger diamond-shaped holes in the blade, and the blades are consistent, then you can actually take the top cap from this Fatip and put it through, I just did it, this base plate right here, and then screw your Fatip handle into it. You can also do that with an old type base plate. You can take out the Fatip base plate and replace it with either this one or the old type, or any of the ones that have the round type arrangements. And so that's kind of neat. Some experimental options, Franken razor kind of things. But let's look now at the top here. This one doesn't have the ridge, of course, so that's different, but that's okay. But can you see the difference? A big glaring difference. This one has the flat part here that starts in the center and goes way down close to the blade edge, right here near the teeth. This one cuts off and drops down and gives you a little channel where the hair and stubble can flow away. I'm guessing that's why they did that. but then that also means that you're not supporting the blade near the edge from the underside with this kind of arrangement. So this is the flat bottom new with the round pin variation. And we can show you another similar one, which is one I used a few times ago. Here's the kind of the regular long comb new. And it's got that kind of same distance of support. Okay, so now we can compare kind of the two siblings, the short comb new and the long comb new. And they're really quite different. I've done this before on my channel. This one has cutaways right here to accommodate those little edge posts on the top cap. This one doesn't because the whole thing is cutaway. Here, just the ends are cutaway. Okay, and so this one has better support toward the blade edge where it cuts away a lot sooner and you get a few millimeters less support. And so that I have not found any other of the new razors other than the short comb that have this style. Pretty much all the new have this cutaway style with the smaller surface area right there. And that definitely translates into a different feel for me. This short comb, and I tried it just to be sure. When I first got the short comb and the long comb, I did use them and contrast them. I didn't notice as much of a difference. I think back then my technique wasn't as good. Let's go ahead and load up the razor. And I did notice that this new, if I had to pick, this really is on the top of my short list of the vintage, of the inexpensive, easy to come by vintage razors that would be really comfortable but really efficient. I like it better than the Tech because it's even smoother than the Tech to me. Here's the Nacet, and here are the identifying marks. So you see there are those little 4 triangle posts. If I get the reflection right, yeah, see there you see them. They coincide with the corners of the blade that are cut out. This is a hollow handle. It doesn't have a pressed end piece like the ball end one does. You can actually pull that out if you're strong enough or if you have the right tools. Indeed, a lot of times you'll find these handles, because this is just a basic tube, they're cracked. And because there's a lot of pressure sometimes that gets put on those. Well, this one's sealed over, but this part is pressure fitted in there. And so since it's hollow, we definitely have more of a head weight on this handle. And since I like this head so much, I was thinking about maybe changing it out and putting a kind of a nicer handle on it. Maybe give better balance, something with a little bit more weight on it. So maybe the balance point might end up to be right here. All right, enough chit chat. Get my face wet. Now, Noble Otter has some amazing scents. Lone Star, Plunder, Texas, that just shine, really. And this is not as awesome as one of those, and so that's why it kind of sits in the background, because it's got some older brothers, some more macho athletic brothers that steal the show. Shake a lot of the water out. You can tell this has been a treated knot because those tips are just kind of clumping together. Let's go for 30 seconds of loading with this one. We'll start right at the 20-second mark. You can feel the density and the backbone there because of that. "15 seconds has gone by. Haven't used this base in a while. I think I used Admiral most recently. Man, that is just one of my all-time favorite soaps and favorite scents. So good. I like the smoke, you know, from the smokestack of that Admiral ship that it was named after. So many good notes in that one. So we'll see what notes come out of this one as I'm going to rinse the tub here. There we go. See what kind of notes jump out as we work this one up. I was smoking on my pipe a little bit in here in the bathroom before the shave, and so that could definitely impact my analysis of the scent. So I'm not going to have this be a scent evaluation type video. So what we see right away is that it's kind of airy. It's not pasty right now. It's okay. Combined it well enough to where I feel like all the water in the brush has touched some soap. So now we can start the business. Bringing in new water, working up that emulsion. I don't think this one is Noble Otter's first base. I think it's the second one they went to. It's a few years old. If I hunt for the tea, maybe I can pick it up, but black tea, it's not jumping out at me really in a significant way. Of course, like I said, the tobacco smoke could have dulled my senses. It could make different things come out of this soap that I maybe didn't notice before. Glad I went for the 30 seconds. Now it looks a lot more like a luxury lather than before. It just needed some water and some work. Let's go and add a little bit more water. It could be a mistake, but you know, we haven't got a lot in there. 14 milliliters, something like that. That's looking great. It's not so loose that it's going to fall out. So what I'm going to do is give this maybe another minute of work. Circulating it through the brush as well by pressing down into it. And that's looking terrific. Let's go with that and see how everything's going to end up. Water on my face. When you have your lather too wet with a dense brush like this, the center will empty out, and then you won't really have much around the sides to kind of circulate. With this density of a brush, you're pretty much always going to have that center go empty. It doesn't have the flow through of a more non-dense brush like this silver tip from Whipped Dog. But see, what happens is you can see the lather that's building up around the sides, and it's a good looking lather that's building there. So it looks like I got it well properly hydrated and mixed well, not too wet. Oh, hey, the black tea. There it is. It just had to sneak up on me. It had to let me slowly figure it out and be able to pull it out of there. And it's clearly there now. And you know what it actually is going very well with is the hints of tobacco that are still floating around in the room. I've got the gathering of lather around my goatee, and that's a telltale sign that it's not too wet. All right. Yeah, the stuff around gathering on the side of the brush is just wonderful, creamy lather, and that is why I bring Noble Otter up whenever I list my favorite bases, or those bases that you can push a bunch of water in. They can be very well hydrated, but keep their creaminess. And this is exactly why it makes that list. All right, Gillette Nacet razor blade with a lot of uses on it. 487 is today's use. Let's see. This is a great razor when just about any blade is very young. I figure I'd try it with a Nacet today. With a younger blade, it would just move through the stubble really competently and smoothly. It's just a delightful experience. With the aged blade in there, it is slower, but it's not any kind of uncomfortable tugging, definitely not any kind of painful tugging. So if this ends up to be a shave that is close in terms of the cutting action, this could be a good contender for a razor that can work well with this Nacet at this age. And there we go. It was a little slow, just because its job was to take off the most hair of any of the passes. It did it quite competently. There is no negative feeling that remains on my face or anything like that. And a little splash of water now. Second pass. This knot was not mounted by me, but B4 is one of my favorite batches. I like certain heights of B13 better than B4, but otherwise B4 is my next favorite. All right. We'll go ahead and go cross grain now. Let's just see how that does. The hair is slowing the blade down just a little bit. It's still not, moving through it super quick, but it's comfortable. This is one that if you try it and it just doesn't work well for you, make sure to try opening the handle angle up, which makes for a smaller blade angle, also known as riding the cap a little bit. And that could make all the difference in the world. Nice and comfy. And you can hear the lack of blade chatter. Water. That razor blade is being held firmly. Pass number 3 coming up. But is it holding it at an angle that works well with the wear of this blade edge? We'll see. I got plenty of lather. Third pass now. Ah, yeah, even nicer. There are so many variations of the Gillette New. Found one probably over on badgerandblade.com. I found an image that showed maybe 8 or 10 base plates and the top caps were flipped the other way, side by side, something like that. And, you know, because I know we've got the standard short comb, standard is my own nomenclature. We've got the long comb. We've got the flat bottom with a round pin. We've got flat bottom with slots. We've got raised flat bottom. We've got, what else do we have? Of course, we have the Hybrid Tech, which is, it has this same type design, but it's a solid bar right here. And there were, you know, still 3 or 4 others. And so it's a very deep, very wide is probably the right word. Very wide category of razors. All right, so I guess this is the 4th pass. I still feel the stubble on my face. And so at this point, I think other razors do a better job at cutting, maybe. But we'll see if it picks up the difference and we end up with a good shave. Yeah, slickness here is just terrific. Even smoother now. I'm barely feeling that there's any stubble left to cut. In terms of my face sensation and the sound of the razor. But that's not always a precise indicator. If you have a razor like this, and it shaves a little aggressive for you, if you are a new shaver, put it away. Work on your technique with another razor, unless this is the only one you have. And if it is, just persevere. Because in 6 months, your technique's going to be better. And if you're anything like me, you'll look at this with fresh eyes and really appreciate what it can do. Now, that's 4 passes. I've still got 2. It's a little too patchy. Some hairs are being cut nicely, but there are just plenty that aren't being cut very well. This lather is leaving my face feeling nourished. During the shave here, during the rinses, I can just feel that. All right, we'll do the 5th pass and maybe include some angles with some, it's my neck that really is the issue. My face is just fine. Maybe I will also remember, because who knows, maybe I've been forgetting to do proper face stretching, you know, down in the neck area. Skin stretching. Could be with this razor. It's something that's not optional. Okay, this feels terrific. But of course, I think most of us have cheeks that are much easier to shave than the neck area. And it's because it's convex instead of the neck, which is often concave. All right. So here we go. My grain goes down and then goes across. So right here, I'm going to do a cross grain stroke like this. I'm going to do my typical behind the chin, kind of under the goatee stroke there. Nobody ever sees that, so it doesn't really matter. Now right here, it kind of comes forward just a little bit before it trails off toward my collarbone here. And so I will go this way to be a cross grain stroke and even turn it a little bit more upstream. Yeah, very comfy there. Remember my skin stretching and lifting my chin. Okay, now I'll come back over here and I'm going to go from the bottom up this way. For me, this is a cross grain stroke right here. And then cross grain right here. And we'll just see if that doesn't give us a decent shave. If that does work out, then what that tells you is you should maybe start using those techniques a little earlier in the shave instead of waiting to the very end to do those. And then you'll end up with a more consistent close shave. Well, there was a noticeable improvement from when I inspected my face after the previous pass to this one, but still too little of an improvement. So this razor may be wonderful for me with other blades, but with a Nye 500 use Nacet, like so many other razors, it just can't cut the mustard. So, as always, I'm going to take the blade out, place it on my washcloth, and gently lay the washcloth over it and kind of pat and tap it dry. If I'm removing water droplets from the edge, that could be one of the reasons why my blade is going for so long, because I'm preventing corrosion. But of course, without a microscope and various other things like that, that can only be an educated guess. Very nice. So that scent definitely worked with the tobacco in the air. And the tea, I was very happy that once I got it on my face and started working it in, that tea came out to me and definitely made his presence known. I can pick him up a little bit better here in the bowl now. The citrus is not very strong. I think it's in a perfect proportion to accenting and working with the tea. But the vanilla, maybe the tobacco in the air is keeping me from really picking up the vanilla. If it's there, it's very faint. All right. Well, what jumped out at me with this shave was that you saw the lather and how it was wet, how it was still creamy, gave great slickness, and then the extra bonus, extra credit point, whereas those three things are just tremendous, and that's what I look for in any soap. But this one adds in the fact that it's number 4, nourishing. It just feels like it's doing my skin good. Very happy with that. All right. We'll go with City Slicker. I've got that nearby. I'm a big fan of that. Excellent. So that's today's shave. I did 5 passes. With that 30 seconds of loading, I got maybe 7 total passes of lather. I've still got at least 2 passes left over here. That consistency right there is pretty much perfect for this soap base in terms of my own preferences. Excellent, excellent. By the end, we used up that same 14. We didn't go any more than the 14. I maybe could have gone a little more if I wanted to, but honestly, I kind of think I hit it exactly perfect today. We talked a little bit about the new long comb versus the short comb. Again, just like most of the vintage components, these are brass components that have been plated and sometimes gold. Yeah, Gillette actually used real gold in many cases. Pretty cool. And I believe we are good. I believe that's it. Hope this helps you guys out. We are chasing on the heels of 500. I'm trying to catch up on the postings. Bear with me. I appreciate it. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys, thanks for watching and take care.